start making up your own password. Take a sentence, take the first letter of each word, add a punctuation mark and a change of case, and you've got a really good, strong password you can remember and cannot be cracked with a dictionary attack. So that's this one that we're going to do here. Notice the high-tech device I got here. The battery life is fabulous.
No backup.
Always on.
Okay, you see what Firefox is doing here, folks?
Yep.
You see this evil?
Yes.
Never. And in fact, let me just take a moment and go in here and take care of this. This is so revolting. If you haven't seen this, just hold your stomach. Remember logins for sites, saved logins. Fortunately, there aren't any. But if there were, there'd be a button here that says show passwords, and they're showed in the clear. Mm-hmm. But it does ask you, are you sure you want to show your passwords? Really high security. I remember in the early days of Access, Microsoft Access, when it came out, it had some encryption built in. And in those days, I don't know if you remember this, but encryption was considered by the US government to be a munition. Mm-hmm. Really. And so they had a big stamp on it saying, this may not be exported outside the United States. And at the time, Saddam Hussein was very much in the news as this horrible, truly horrible dictator. And I thought, gee, if I mailed this to him, he'd say, oh my God, I'm in violation of US munitions regulations. It just seemed really silly. So this is my domain. Notice we may get to this about private registration, which hides your who is. But let's go straight in. So we're going to go into DNS for computercareandlearning.com. That's my domain name. It's my company name. It's been around for about 25 years on the internet. And here we are. We're right in the middle of it. So this is the DNS system, and it's how I connect to the DNS system. So let's start with something really straightforward, which is the mail record. So it's 2 pages. And here's, on the second page, there's the mail record. So you see where the Bangkok server is getting this? What's happening is that GoDaddy is keeping this inside here, in its belly. And so what you're seeing those servers doing is a bit of an optical illusion. I want to emphasize this. So if you look here, and you see this mail address, it looks like the international DNS servers know mail.computercareandlearning.com. I assure you they do not. This string does not appear anywhere in the international mail system, and I want to in the international DNS system. I want to emphasize this. This system, in my opinion, is quite brilliant. It is a beautiful example of good delegation. So here's what they've done. What they've done is they realized early on that people have to be able to get to my mail server. But they also realized that if all piddling people like me are changing my mail servers all the time, the whole system will be brought down. You can't have this information in the international system. So here's what I want to really emphasize to you. The DNS system, the international DNS system is, to use a Yiddish word, stealth. It is thin, it is elegant, it is on a diet. Okay? So let me explain what I mean.
It's even sexy.
So the key to the stealth effect, stealth, this is wonderful, means thin and elegant.
I don't know, it's even sexy.
And it can be that too. So what makes this a svelte system is that there's only 2 pieces of information for every single entity. Only 2. There's the domain name, which in my case is computercareandlearning.com. I'll just abbreviate it. Okay? There's the domain name, and there's an IP address. Period. What is that IP address? Is it the IP address of my server? No. This is puzzling, but it's the way it works. In the international system, the number is not the address of ccal.com at all. If it were, it would be a disaster area. Because of course, that address is going to be a moving target. What if my server goes down and I have to put up another one? What if I lose my IP address because I switch providers? What if Comcast goes down? This would be a nightmare. The international system would have to get, and remember, 40,000 servers would have to be updated every time Comcast has an event in my neighborhood. No, we don't want to do it that way. So instead, we ask ourselves, what's going to be pretty stable? And the answer is the name server of your host. That's what goes here. So what goes here is, in my case, I use GoDaddy. So it's their name server that is going to go here. I'm just going to make up a number, but we'll make up a name. We'll say it's NS1 secure server. I think that's what it is. Okay. This has a number associated with it, also in the domain name system. This is what's actually stored here is the actual number of the domain service. There's a translation involved. But here's the thing that's critical about this. This system is a doorman system. The DNS system is based on, if anyone's been in New York and tried to get into a New York apartment building, and you meet that guy in front who knows everything about everybody in the building, who will never be fired because he knows everything about everyone in the building.
In uniform.
That's what the private name servers are. Think of these as private name servers, private doormen for every host. So basically what happens is, when you want to get someplace, you go to the international system and you say, who's the doorman? Give me the doorman. That's all that happens. No information is stored here. And so I just want to make a quick comment about propagation delay. When you're moving somebody from one internet system to another, you're transferring their mail, or you're doing something like this, your provider will go on and on about the propagation delay and say, oh, this may take 24 hours, it may take 48 hours. This is usually nonsense, because the real data is stored inside the servers, the name servers that you have direct control over. So this name server is actually on GoDaddy servers, and I can actually go in and change something instantaneously in most cases. The only propagation delay that's in this system is if you change the name server. So one time it will happen. If you change the name server, that does have to get propagated across the 40,000 servers. And yeah, maybe by the time it reaches Bangkok, there may be a bit of a delay. My experience, for what it's worth, actually, is that it's gotten very, 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 very fast. Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, when you say name server, you're referring to a GoDaddy server?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. This word is used in several different senses, and so let's get it really clear that there are several different kinds, and that's why you all should have a big piece of white paper. Does everyone have a piece of white paper?
Yep.
If you don't, and there are crayons and markers in case you don't have pens. So I would like you to draw this out because I think it will help everyone. I want everyone to leave here understanding this. It's really, really important. It's very basic, but it's also really important. If you already understand it, cool, do it anyway, and you can show off your knowledge. So I'm going to show you the chain, and this will give you a feel for what's going on. And you can think of my GoDaddy account as a little bit of a living example. This domain manager is a living example of what's happening. But I want to show you how you have the chain. Here's the chain. I want to be on the internet. I decide that my company is going to be called Computer Care and Learning. So I go to a registrar. In the old days, it was just one, the internet run by Network Solutions. Now it's incredibly complicated. Oh my God, I'll tell you a horror story. It's spread out over all these different providers who tunnel up to the top or trickle up to the top and get to guarantee that a domain name will only go to one person. But the main point is you've got a registrar. What does the registrar do? The registrar takes my name, Computer Care and Learning, just call it CCL, CCL.com, pulls it out of the pool so it can't be used by somebody else during the rental period. And then they offer me a choice of using their name servers, this is trying to answer Jerry's question, or I could specify a different name server host. You get to choose. And one thing you'll notice about everything in this chain is all a la carte. Anywhere along the chain, you can say, no, I want a different company to do it. I'll do it myself. So CCAL.com, I'm going to choose to go with GoDaddy. So I decide to go with GoDaddy, and I say, GoDaddy registered for this for me. The way GoDaddy works is that they automatically are going to provide their name servers. And this is the private name server. So I want to emphasize the difference between the DNS, which is the international service that you're seeing here. These servers are not a private DNS servers. they're like public utilities. They're public domain servers, and their only purpose is to propagate this vast table, which consists only of names and the private name servers. Everyone with me? So on your sheet of paper, you put the domain name, and then you say, that's registered. Okay, the domain name is registered and now is given a private DNS. We're going to call it a private DNS server. Now, in the case of GoDaddy, that is ns1.secureserver.net. These are servers that are funded by, controlled by, monitored by, and made redundant by GoDaddy. They have nothing to do with the international service. They are the private doorman and have as much to do with the private service as a doorman has to do with the police department. This is a private service that GoDaddy is providing. What the international system is doing is getting you to that private service. So this is a public-private partnership that's going on. The international system is funded in a bizarre, sort of very nice pro bono sort of way. The 13 root servers are funded by private industry, VeriSign, NASA, and all these. This is an interesting collaboration and mix. Then all these servers, they seem to be the way the system has panned out. Like Speakeasy is a private company. I think all these 40,000 most of them are private companies that are providing this as a public service. It's like they're allowing people to get the name service. And then there's my favorite service, my provider of DNS registration, which is OpenDNS. This is the largest DNS provider in the world. They handle 1% of all internet traffic. That is a lot of traffic. And they're add an extra security layer, which if we have time, we can talk about. But here's the thing I want you to emphasize in your note. Your name is associated with this private DNS server, which you can change to a different company if you wish. But here's what this does. Here's the benefit that this has. When someone needs to find something out about you, like what web server does this guy use? What mail server does this guy use? Is there a secret bit of information that I can read on his website that will prove that he is who he says he is? Let me give you that example of that. When you sign up with Google Analytics, Google wants to make sure that it's your website that you're asking to be analyzed. How do they do it? There's a way of putting a little name or a little word or a little buzzword inside your website that Google can retrieve from your website. Well, who could have put it there? Only you, right? It's your website. No one else can put it there. And I can even demonstrate that for you if we have time.
Unless you get hacked.
Say again? Unless you get hacked, quite so. So what I want to emphasize is that when someone is looking